TitleMatchNetwork.com.
From Vince's point of view, it was one of, it didn't matter whether they got squashed on their way out. He was going to make them something else.
How bad did it bother Vince when Randy left, Randy Savage?
That hurt Vince because it was out of the blue, and it's just one of those things that we really didn't expect.
Do you buy the Savage Stephanie McMahon rumors?
Funny thing is, I never heard those rumors until probably about 2007. Was the first time I'd ever even heard those rumors. So I don't know, and I mean I just don't know.
You think Vince knows about those rumors?
Oh, without a doubt, I'm sure he does. Okay. I'm sure he does.
How keen is Vince to the business as far as like what's going on outside the business and the rumors? And is he hands on and knows everything that's going on, or is he in the WWE bubble?
He's in the WWE bubble.
Okay,
he's definitely in the bubble.
Okay. Why do you think Vince never was open to bringing Randy back? What was the?
That's a great mystery. That unless Vince comes clean and tells you, and I point blank ask him.
You don't even know at all? I mean,
no,
you never heard any rumors or anything like that?
That's where the rumors always started, was that...
There's a million rumors, but I don't know. You only really know if you witnessed it, were there, and actually truly know. I've point blank asked him, and he's never answered me. So, I think he's the only one that's going to be able to answer that question.
How had the pressure to beat WCW changed Vince McMahon and the company as a whole during the Nitro War?
It makes you strive to be better. It makes you want to win all that much more. There's nothing that will make you want to win more than getting your ass kicked. And we got our ass kicked there for a while. But the misconception a lot of times is, especially in the second half, of the very beginning, when they had turned the corner and started beating us ratings-wise, and they really started doing good business. We were struggling, but midway through, when we focused on our own business and just said, you know what, fuck it, we're going to be the best we can be. Our house show business came up. They were still winning the ratings, but all of the rest of our business was coming up. On their side, they may have been packing arenas, but they were giving away a lot of those tickets. They may have been selling merchandise, but a lot of their deals weren't as good as ours. Their houses and their revenue weren't what our houses and our revenue were, and our revenue from other streams. So while in the television war, we were losing miserably, in the business war, it was like, holy shit, we're there. We're doing pretty damn good because we quit worrying about them. Whatever point it was, once we got into that, deal of, okay, we've got a star in our hands here, and guys, once they realized that their pay was based on their performance, even though they had downside guarantees, and business was coming up, they were realizing this in their paycheck every week, looking at it going, oh shit. They started working harder because they wanted to be better. They wanted more money, and the competition got intense. And you had Sean, you had Brett, you had Taker, you had Mick, Hunter. You had all these guys vying for that top spot, and they were working so damn hard. It was great shows for the audiences. The audiences came back, and business was there.
Was there ever any worry at any time that Shawn Michaels might jump to WCW to join his friends?
It was talked about, but the reality of Shawn jumping was more just speculation. I don't think there was ever a reality of thinking. I think Shawn probably ran it through his head several times. I'm sure Vince ran it through his head. But that was one of those things that you could speculate all day long. I just don't think... You never say never, but it was one of those. I don't think that'll happen.
Who do you think would... Maybe Sean's answered this, but who do you think, if anyone, was like the one guy in Vince's head that no matter what happens, we can't lose this guy? Was it Shawn? Was it Undertaker? Bret Hart?
It obviously wasn't Bret Hart.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that coming up too. So.
I think the bottom line is this: that there's no talent that cannot be replaced. Not one.
People are paying to see the WWE brand, not the Pacific work.
Right, but and they're there to see talent. I mean, they're there to see specific talent, but there's not any one talent that you can't do without. You can always build another star. You can always build someone else. But there were guys, Taker going would have been a shot in the heart. Sean going, same thing. But it was business. Was what it was.
What did Jim Cornette and Vince Russo each bring to the creative process when they got on board with WWF?
Corny brought creativity that was unique to Corny. He had that Southern mentality that he viewed the business in a different way. Vince Russo brought a completely outside view of not looking at the business in a traditional way. So,
Old school, new school.
Yeah, it was very traditional, and Vince asked the questions, why? Okay, well, why do you have to do it that way? Why can't you do it this way? And sometimes when people ask those questions and you can't answer them other than, God damn, that's why we did it. And I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty. Fuck, that's the way you do it. It just gave a different perspective, a new perspective that hadn't been really explored, and it was a new voice.
Were you surprised to see Russo gain as much power as he did? And why do you think he was able to get to Vince's ear?
Because we gave it to him. We gave him Vince's ear. We encouraged it. Because a lot of the things that Vince Russo was saying to Vince were things that we'd all been saying all along. It was a new voice. And all of a sudden, when you're hearing the same thing from the same people all the time, and then another voice from completely out of nowhere says it's like, that's a great idea. Why didn't you guys think of that? Again, it doesn't matter where the idea is coming from, as long as it's a good idea and it works. Vince was a new voice that came in and had a different approach and a different way of looking at things. And it challenged Vince. It challenged everybody to look at the business in a different way.
As far as Vince Russo goes, well, let me ask you about the nWo. Now they were, becoming very popular, and they pretty much were the game changer for the ratings war between WCW and WWE. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Hulk Hogan finally turning heel after being a babyface forever. What was the WWE's take on the nWo, and was there ever a plan to all right, we got to do something because we're really losing the ratings war here?
Again, at first it was kind of those bastards, and because the perception again was it was all WWE guys against WCW guys. They were using us against ourselves.
Was there any legal letters ever sent? Because
there was a lawsuit.
Yeah, there was a lawsuit.
Exactly. Can you talk about that?
Place. I think it was just the way that they portrayed them at first. That it was us versus them. That here you're trying to use our marks, our images, having Razor do the swagger and do the accent and all that stuff, which Scott Hall didn't do before. Big Daddy Cool and all those other things. It was at first it was just the fact that they were using our marks, our creations.
What was the idea behind the fake Razor and the fake Diesel? Whose idea was this?
Well, how do you know the first guys weren't fake?
Well,
how do you know these weren't the real Razor and Diesel originals, and the other guys were just fake? It was simply a proof that we own the marks.
Right.
Simply, we own Razor, we own Diesel.
Do you think that was? I think in some ways that again could be seen as almost like a weakness, kind of again Vince is acknowledging that something else exists. Did you guys? I mean, obviously Vince has to give the final approval, but was there anybody in the office saying, "Why are we doing this?"
Doing
you
what?
Guys all behind
the fake Diesel,
doing the fake
Razor?
Diesel, fake Razor. So I think it's looked back on as being one of the big whoops, over the years.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're not always gonna hit a home run, and I think hindsight's 20/20. You can look at it and go, well, boy, that sucked. But at the time, it's okay. legally you have something you need to prove. You own marks, you own trademarks, you own these names, you own the character and likeness. You created it. Okay? We created Razor and Diesel. Okay? They didn't. And we owned it. We put the investment in those characters, and now they're capitalizing on that investment that we put. It just was more of a, you had to set an example, you had to set a precedent that you owned it, and it wasn't necessarily the person portraying the character as it was the character that got over. Not sure it was a good example.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.